Hello, everybody, and welcome to Behind the Camera. Here we are with episode 115 of Behind the Camera. As always, before we get into today's show, if you would like to follow Behind the Camera across social media, you can find my link tree in the description, which will take you to Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, and also has the link to where you can buy my book, Behind the Camera, The Journey So Far. This is available in both paperback and ebook and is free to read if you have Kindle Unlimited. If you'd also like to see more of the behind the scenes side of the podcast, you can also support the show on Patreon. For £3 a month, you'll get access to extra content, including Patreon exclusive series, your name added to the wall of patrons at the end of every episode of Behind the Camera, and much more. But now, getting into today's conversation. Today, we welcome TikTok streamer and food reviewer MoneyMan to Behind the Camera. We discuss Money's journey from his start in the mid-2010s to now having amassed over 70,000 followers on TikTok, what it takes to maintain that level of community, and how ultimately being yourself as a streamer is the best thing that you can possibly do. We also take a dive into Money's latest venture, MoneyEats, where he travels the United States trying the best foods each state is known for. But now, here's the interview. MoneyMan, welcome to Behind the Camera podcast. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. How are we doing this fine morning?
Thank you so much. I've been super excited since I've gotten the news that you've invited me out to do this, and I've counted down the days, and we're finally here.
I love to hear that, man. Love to hear that. It is incredible to have you on the
Yeah,
show. So,
thank you.
yeah, let's get straight into it, man. So, you are a TikTok streamer. You've amassed nearly 80,000 followers, and man, there's got to be a story behind that. So, let's go from the beginning. Let's talk. Let's talk first of all about your streaming journey, about what got you into streaming and what that journey's been like.
Yeah, streaming was never something on my radar back, and I think it's already been nearly 10 years where
Wow.
some buddies and we just picked up on YouTube one day. We're like, hey, you know what? Let's record ourselves playing games, put it out there. Whatever happens, happens. Let's just have some fun with it. We started doing that for about 2 years consistently, just posting on YouTube. It never really went anywhere, but we were having fun.
Mhm.
And there was a time where I just started getting my own equipment, cameras, and virtual. I had the capture card, so
Yeah.
I thought, let me stream on Twitch one day. I opened up Twitch, decided to stream on there for a couple years, and I was basically streaming to myself because no one would watch me. I was always playing Mario Kart, and there was zero views, but I was having fun. I was acting like there was a million people watching
Mhm.
me at once, and that was always the thing with me. I was always doing things for the love of it.
Yeah.
I was never expecting a crowd. I was never expecting anything like that. I knew how hard it was gonna be to actually get an audience together. So I just kept doing things naturally. I was myself until one day I thought, I saw TikTok come out, and this was during the COVID time. And I said, you know what? Let me look into TikTok. I started posting shorts of all my little streams and things I was doing until finally I just said, let me try to go live.
Yeah.
Let me try to go live. And I would always remember there would always be me and five other people every time I would stream Mario Kart. Just five people. And with those five people, I would treat it like there was 100 people in the stream at once. I would know them by name, and to this day, I still try to learn everyone's name that comes by my streams because I want it to feel like a personal experience. I don't want it to be, oh, this guy is just trying to become this big streamer and trying to get all the views and focus on all that attention. Not really. I'm more of building friendship, building a community, and it's been such a long journey. I haven't realized it. I'm just having so much fun that here we are now, almost 80K followers later. I mean, to some people it'd be like, "Oh, that's not that much," but for me, more than I ever thought I'd ever have.
Mm. But 80K
So
is
yeah,
a lot, man. Like it really is, and like I think it's like more than what some people give it credit for sure. Anyway, but like I think what you're saying, like I think it's a very important, like to kind of everybody who comes in treat it like a sort of community thing, learn everybody's name, and because as a sort of viewer of streamers, what you want is that kind of familiarity. You want that kind of you want that friendly streamer who entices you to come back. Like I can tell you from personal experience, my first experience with streamers was not a very good one. And like as soon as I scrolled away from that person, I was like, if I never see that person on my For You page again, great. And then then I sort of met nicer people, kind of went from there. So like it's certainly is that I think is the right way to do it, man. Like it's just you got the sort of
yeah,
game there, and your streams as well. Like it's almost like a party, like every single time. Like,
yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah, it's
your
true.
main choice of game is Wii Sports. So
Mhm.
how long has that been your kind of main niche?
Wii Sports, let's say it's been about 2 years now.
Okay.
And it's funny because I've always enjoyed playing Wii Sports. People always come in and kind of poke fun at me because of how serious I take it. I always tell people this isn't a show. This is authentic. Even if the camera was off, this is how I truly get up and play this game. I get up, I'm acting like I'm actually in the for example, I play a lot of baseball and Wii Sports, and I sometimes I dress to the part where I'm full baseball uniform, a baseball glove, which I actually have right here, ready to go, just in case
Beautiful.
anything were to happen. Um, I'm always ready to go. So I always get up. I'm never on a chair. I'm always standing, getting active, getting people involved, and it's kind of my nature. I tell people it's definitely who I am. This is how I am. I'm a person of competitive nature. So I thought Wii Sports was going to be great to throw into the mix. And I will never forget the day where I actually took it serious, where I put on a full baseball uniform. I put on the eye makeup, the eye black, and all of a sudden I look up and I've got almost 1,500 people watching at the
Oh,
same time, just watching me play baseball. And I didn't change anything. I just kept being me. I didn't just because I saw a big number, all of a sudden I didn't change the way I was delivering, the way I play, the way I am on camera. No, I just continued being myself. I acknowledged everyone, said welcome in. Hope you guys have some fun. One thing I always tell my audience, if you're gonna be in here, it's to have some fun. So let's forget about everything that's going on in this world. Stop taking life so serious. Let's have a good time.
yeah.
So
No,
yeah.
I love that, man. Like, because it's one of them things where you've got like you're like a room full of people watching a streamer. Like they immediately have that one thing in common. That they're all there. They all either want an escape or just to have a good time, or they're just in the middle of their day and some free time, and they're just you just get like this you just get this fun vibe out of what's coming along, and and I think authenticity carries itself a long way when you have any sort of online presence, because people can see through it. And I suppose when you get to that sort of high number of followers, the high number of viewership, like surely there's got to be a sense where like if people don't want to agree with how authentic you are, then that's their problem, really.
Mhm. Yeah, that's definitely true. And I see that I tend to see that a lot, that a lot of big streamers are just, I call them engagement farmers.
Hmm.
They just they just see you as another viewer. They want your likes, and then that's it. It's a constant call to action. Hit
Yeah.
the follow button, this and that, this and that. I do a lot of call of actions on my streams. Um, but I do it in a goofy way, really. I'm not demanding people or this and that. Oh, you guys need to send some heart me's, send some this. No, No, it's a funny thing. Like I'm about to hit this home run, and every single one of you are gonna hit the follow button once this goes out of the park. And it's kind of a challenge to myself, you know.
Yeah,
All right, I just put myself out there, and if I don't hit this home run right now, people are gonna absolutely clown me. And 9 out of 10 times, I do hit the home run, but the other time that I don't, it's just I get a good amount of laughs and people just genuinely just start following even if I fail it. So it's funny. There's a fine line where when it comes to that, not to dish out to any on any other
oh no, of
streamer.
course, of course.
If they have their ways to get engagement and bring people in, so be it. But then again, I really want to be genuine with others.
Yeah.
I want them to see that I'm not just trying to get you to follow me or, it's just so I can have this massive amount of following. Don't care. Like I said, I'm the same person when I'm with 80K that when I first started with just zero viewers. Never changed.
Yeah, of course. I think though as well, like to compare with other streamers who do really utilize the CTAs and they really are kind of like engagement farming, like you say. I, I think ultimately it kind of comes down to like the sort of end goal that some people have, really, and like you
Mm.
can tell sometimes from the start people are just in it for they're in it for the sort of the career of it, really. Like, people want it
Yeah,
to, so like they're gonna sort of, and and I again, it might be the cynic in me, but I kind of say these are like the sort of the agency people who you can kind of
mhm,
tell they've been manufactured a little bit to sort of, oh, you
that
should be
is it.
saying this, you should be saying that, and
Yeah,
you can kind of just see how inauthentic it really, really is, especially when
agree.
people get maybe you start to see the little badge on like their overlays and stuff, and you're like, oh no, not you,
Yeah,
man, not you.
that
But like
is true.
authenticity, like I say, is like one of the most important things. But so obviously, like having so streaming for 10 years, like that's obviously you'll
Mhm.
have seen so much over that 10 years. Um, it almost sounds like when you started, you started at a point where streaming was kind of, there wasn't much of an interest. There wasn't like as many people doing it.
Yeah,
But like post COVID, since TikTok, now it's like anyone and their mom can stream these days.
yeah.
And how would you say that the landscape of streaming has changed, particularly over the last 10 years, given how you've been on all these different platforms?
It's definitely changed. Like we said, when I first started, it was YouTube and posting on there. You were never gonna make it on YouTube if you didn't have some kind of if you weren't famous
Hmm.
or you haven't built a brand over time. No one's gonna come watch your videos. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't really push you like that.
Yeah.
TikTok was the only platform that I thought you would definitely be able to get that push, no matter who you are. TikTok was always that one to have the better discoverability. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Um, but you saw it, and during COVID time, it's very weird how streaming has gone. You have your gamers, you have your everyday lifestyle streamers that take you around with them. And then you had those people that were just acting like robots, and every time you'd send a gift, they would do something. Um, Very interesting how streaming has gone these days. Um, I never changed my style, so I was like, let me just stick to gaming for now and let it go with that. Even though it's such a high competitive um, niche, I guess you
Mhm.
could say. To me, I always tell people, don't worry if who's playing the same game as you and this and that. Like I said, it's an authentic experience. What you bring is going to attract people to come and watch you. Who you are, how you are, just don't worry. Don't if you're so worried about how many people are watching you, take a piece of tape or something and put it over the amount of viewers that are watching you and just act like there's a bunch of people at once. If that's your thing. But yeah, streaming has definitely changed and evolved. And have I adjusted to all those changes? Not really. Not really. I've still been the same guy, the same money man, as they say.
But then, you got to ask yourself, do you have to adjust to the changes sometimes? Because it's clearly going, very well for yourself, no matter what it is. You're like, obviously, with yourself, when you do the baseball and Wii Sports,
Mhm.
that's the sort of, that's the money maker, if you want to call it that, right? That's like where you get like the most people in. But even when you're doing like other things, like when you're doing the golf, when you're, is it Wii
Mhm.
Party? Is it like the one that's like Mario Party?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
But when
party.
you're doing all
Yeah.
these other things, you're still getting like a healthy number of people, still getting a lot of people in the door. Like, and I think it's sort of, regardless of what external changes there are, to me, it kind of sounds like, it's, you don't really kind of have to, you know, sort of go
Yeah,
with that if what you're doing is working.
that is true. And that is one thing that I have started trying to incorporate in my streams. I want to be able to stream something that everyone wants to watch. I understand that Wii Sports does get a little bit repetitive. So that's why I try to mix throughout the week. Lately, it's been trying to put Wii Sports maybe once or twice a week,
Hmm.
and then I'll play something else because I want to cater everyone. I don't care if my views go down or I don't have a certain amount of people watching at once. That to me is not a concern. One thing I need to make sure of is that number one, I myself am having fun.
Yeah.
It sounds selfish, but if you really want to be authentic, there's no way I'm going to play a game that I'm just not having any fun with. Just to get people in there. I can't get the emotion out. I can't act. I'm a horrible actor. That's why I'm not in Hollywood. I, I can't make this up. If I'm not liking something, you'll see it on my face. Sometimes I always wear my little glasses to kind of hide expressions on my eyes, but no, I like to now I'm becoming a little bit more diverse with the things I'm playing, dipping my toes in some things, even though my chat will demand me to play. Hey, where's baseball or where's this, where's that? It's constant, but I really want to cater everyone. Some people ask me for different games, and I bring it, and I give some games I've never played. I give it a chance
Yeah.
just so that person can be like, wow, he actually took a suggestion. Like I can't believe that. I That's what I like to do.
Yeah. And do you know, like, when it comes to audience suggestions, like, something that I found whenever I streamed was that, you know, like, somebody like, in your audience might have seen a lot of different people play a particular game, but the fact that they want
Mhm.
you to sort of play that, they want to kind of, to me, it kind of says that they want you to sort of see the enjoyment and share the enjoyment that they get out of, like, playing or seeing the game unfold. And I think that's like the sweetest thing, when you really kind of break it down like that. Like, and but like it's an interesting one overall because you talk about like wanting to kind of cater, excuse me, cater for everybody watching, and like it's a very, very difficult thing, regardless of how established you are as a streamer. Like something that I found whenever I stream, like I started off with the whole Super Mario 64 kind of click, and I sort of quickly sort of went around into sort of different but similar things, and I found my lane kind of thing. But
Mhm.
I'm kind of at the point now where if I kind of feel like if I was going to go back and do the things now that I enjoy more, that I would sit and play offline. If I was to go back and hit that press streaming button, I feel like it would be the most inauthentic thing I could possibly do. Because like, do you ever get it where you have a bit of free time and you want to just sit down and play a game, but part of you's kind of like, I could be streaming this. Do you ever have that, or is your
I
game time your stream time?
I definitely do, and I've had a couple streams recently where I'm playing something completely different. The other day, I was playing a very old game, The Lion King. I said, I told my audience as soon as I started the stream, I want to just play something totally different. And I apologize as of right now for me not doing what we typically do, but something that I just want to play,
Yeah,
and whether this sounds very rough and harsh, and selfish, but I just want to do something where I'm having fun, you know.
Yeah.
Some days you just don't want to do the same things. Some days it's to save it from becoming a repetitive thing where you begin to lose your love for a certain game. So that's why it's super important to throw something else in the mix. If you're starting to feel that fatigue over something, you were talking Mario 64 runs. I've watched many streamers that do Mario 64 speed runs, and I can see where it can become repetitive and become a thing where you get so fatigued, you miss this jump, you know, you're losing time and you're just not improving at all. I could see the frustration in that. So that's why that's something I can never get into speedrunning. It's just I know myself. I'd get too frustrated. So then you'll see the frustration, you could feel the tension through the camera. That's when you got to learn, you know, let me just switch it up real quick. Let me do a quick switch around, even if it hurts my views. Let me switch it around so that I myself can get in the comfortable zone. So that's what I've tried to do as well. I a game that I would play on my bed.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me just throw the camera on
Oh
and
yeah.
have some people enjoy, you know. And believe it or not, take the risk and sometimes you get rewarded, and you know you meet new people, meet new viewership, you start to bring a different crowd in, and then there you go, you've built a new audience, you've got more people in there. I mean, it's fun, it's fun, it's a nice alternative route.
Definitely. Like, and you know, the thing is with that as well is that when you do something different outside of your normal routine, it kind of keeps the want in there and stops it from turning into like you have to do this. Because like let's say for example, you know, you didn't play Lion King that one day, then the baseball thing almost turns into like a gimmick rather than something that you know you want to do. Like,
Yeah.
and that's, I mean, gimmicks are fine and all, but like at least kind of, you know, if you're gonna be like, if you're gonna have like a gimmick when you're streaming, you have to be kind of honest about it. You have to kind of like be completely open about it. Like otherwise
Mhm.
people can just sort of see right through it. And it's the same way, like you say, you know, if you let your frustration show on camera, the first people who are going to see that is your audience. Your audience are going to see that, and then that is the ultimate thing that drives people away. Like at least what I've noticed, and you know, like you say, doing different things brings this, like, you know, closes a door for some people, but it opens a door for a whole other different group of people who they get that kind of nostalgia hit from seeing something that they might have rented at a blockbuster once 25 years ago. You know what I mean?
That-
And
that's
I'm
so
not gonna lie,
true.
I had people like when I stream too, like who I can't remember exactly what it was I was playing, but I remember somebody followed me on Twitch, and this was like a one-off thing I was playing. They followed me on Twitch, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this has been cool. If you're ever playing this again, I'll pop in." Never saw the person again, but it was still kind of nice in that moment. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
of course. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That when you said it becomes a gimmick, that is exactly the way I'd put it. I don't want to be a gimmick. I don't want to oh, the baseball guy, you know, if that's all he does. I've had that one time where people would come in and say, "Is this all you play?"
Mm,
And I remember one time where it really got, I don't know if I could say under my skin because I don't let things really get to me like that. But it made me self reflect a little bit and be like, you know, maybe I have been doing this a little bit too much. Um, then that's when you kind of force yourself to mix it up, you know.
yeah.
And it's hard. It is hard. I mean, like I said, a lot of people and streamers I've talked to in the past, they're the number one thing that they're scared of is if they switch something around that they're just not going to get that viewership, and it's almost going to be like starting from scratch again. It is because you're touching a different avenue. You're going into a different avenue, and it's kind of like whatever happens happens. But you never know unless you take that leap. And I'm so thankful that I have. I've been playing. I've playing a game of skipping rocks in a pond, and I have 500 people watching at once,
Yeah.
watching me do that. It gets to a point where once you finally connect with your audience and build this beautiful community, doesn't matter what you play.
Yeah.
Some people are just going to sit there and just watch you. Some people just want to look at you. They like your energy. The other day I was sitting there eating a Pop Tart, and I had a lot of people just watching me do that. And it's not to say, look how many views I've got, this and that. This is not to boast and try to self-proclaim or anything like
No,
that.
of
I'm
course.
just saying you build such a beautiful community that whatever you do, they will say, I will be there regardless. Someone told me the other day, I will watch you. I'll watch you watch paint dry. That's what they said. If you're watching paint dry, I would watch you. That'd be entertaining to me. That makes me happy. It makes me feel good because there's people that actually do care.
Yeah,
Obviously
absolutely.
you have people that just, you know, they'll be there one day and the next day you'll never hear from them again. That's gonna happen.
Oh, of
But you
course.
never know when you're gonna have someone that's gonna stick with you for years.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I kind of imagine, like, the bigger the scale gets, the more you sort of notice those individuals who have been around since day one, really, because
Yeah.
you've got, like, I mean, of course, there'll be so many more familiar names, but you'll always notice the ones who were there when there was five people in your chat rather than 500, and et cetera. Like, because that's something that, like, I would have, I got told whenever I stream, people would have said to me, it's like, oh, it doesn't matter, you can stream this and I'll watch it. I'm like, oh, that's lovely, but there is always that fear, like you say, to go into variety. And I think that's the good thing about TikTok, though, is that you can you can sort of like take that risk a little bit more comfortably than you could with the likes of
Mhm.
Twitch, for example.
I agree.
um because TikTok to me seems more, because the varieties there, it's TikTok's not a streaming app, it's a social media app, right? Let's like sort of be clear with that first. But it's like the discoverability is there, if you just sort of randomly happen to come across something. Whereas Twitch is kind of more purpose built for specific things. If you're not doing something, if you're doing something that's not popular, you're not going to make it popular by being the the number one streamer on Twitch playing
Yeah.
Pac-Man or something, that's because nobody else is playing it. You know what I mean? You're not going to sort of add to
Yeah.
that. But yeah, TikTok is certainly good for that. And so, what's your opinion on how accessible streaming has got for people? Because now I think TikTok have completely gotten rid of the you need X number of followers to go live, and but now the
Yeah.
fact that it's like so openly available to a lot of people, like, what's your opinion on that, given from where you were, say, 5 or 6 years ago when you started on TikTok?
I love it because it gives people a chance. A lot of people's fear, like I said, that we've been talking about, a lot of people's fear is to just stream to nobody. And TikTok has made it very easy to stream now. And yeah, it used to be just to use TikTok Studio. Before it was you needed to get your phone and stream on there for a certain amount of time, and then you get access to Live Studio where you could do a little bit more things. You could do gaming and this and that. Before people have to start just recording their screen with their phone, and that's how they would start streaming. But I think TikTok has changed that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's made it a lot easier. It's become more welcoming. That's why I like the platform. We have a hate love hate relationship because there are some instances where you get in trouble for something that you truly did not do. Um, but it happens. You kind of just have to overlook that. But I really appreciate TikTok for how easy it is to stream on the platform, and you pretty much have the same chance as anybody else. You could have zero followers, and this person could have a million followers. You still have that chance
Yeah.
to get a random spike and have all these people come in your stream at once. doesn't matter. And honestly, it is based off of what you're streaming though. If you're just not being entertaining and you're ignoring everyone that comes in, then you're kind of kicking yourself and doing yourself a disfavor. But if you're doing something relatively, watchable, could be cooking, baking, reading stories, singing, whatever it may be, you'll have that chance to
Yeah.
get that opposed to Twitch and YouTube and any other streaming platform.
Yeah. Yeah. It is amazing to me how different all the platforms are and have been over the last number of years, because you go back 15 years, YouTube was like, all you needed to have on YouTube was like about 3 videos posted and you could have been monetized. And that was as simple as
Mhm.
that. If you wanted to be a YouTube partner, all you had to do was show that you were uploading videos. It
Yep.
was as simple as that. Now they have got that, because I think YouTube is the sort of most lucrative out of them all. They
Yeah.
they've got this, they've got their monetization under lock and key. Like they've got it really, really, locked down. Um because Twitch and TikTok's a lot easier, but
Mhm.
it's you it's keeping that kind of consistency. Whereas I think once you get it with YouTube, it's kind of gonna be there because it's always constantly gonna be pushed out
Yeah.
into like suggested or whatever. But with like TikTok and but I think ultimately though, in terms of streaming, like authenticity is probably the most important thing I think you can do as a streamer, and consistency, because you've got to keep your viewers entertained. You have to keep them
That's true.
entertained. You have to, you know, and like you mentioned earlier on, um, you got to kind of get it out of your head and not worry about who's streaming the same game at the same time. But like
Mhm.
as a streamer, you're kind of the one who has to sort of not dictate that, but you have to be the sort of driving factor to keep people there, to be that kind of, have that sort of edge, have that niche, be more entertaining, and just retain people. And then again, if like it's also like we say, people do come and go, and that is the kind of sad reality of it. But it's still something to be massively grateful for, regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I totally agree. You just, yeah, stick to authenticity. Um, One thing I kind of want to dive dwindle into is that I have a lot of streaming friends, and sometimes I'm a little timid to go live when they're live because we share mutual viewers, we
yeah,
share mutual friends, so you kind of get to a fine line where it's like I don't want to steal their views or anything like that, but you got to sometimes you gotta just get your mind out of that
yeah,
and think, okay, you know what? They have their audience and I've created mine. You know, um, whatever happens, happens. You can't go in with a thought, oh, I'm stealing their views or not. Cause then you're never gonna stream. And then you're gonna stream at inconvenient times where you just don't want to stream and just click the button and go live. Just do that.
yeah,
You know, I care for my friends and I will always send people their way. Go my friend is live on, wherever platform it is. Go show them some love, let them know I said hi. And I'll still be here. It, you don't want to get competitive with your colleagues or friends or whoever it may be.
yeah,
Just create your audience and you'll see down the line that you'll thank yourself for that. And I've
yeah,
learned to do that. I'm really thanking myself now because I see so many different people in my friends' streams that don't watch me, and that's great. That's great. And that kind of takes that weight off your back of saying,
yeah.
am I stealing their views and this and that? No, authentic experience will bring you your own type of audience, and you'll definitely appreciate that as time goes on.
Oh, for sure, and like knowing your audience in that sort of sense as well is, it's such a weight off your chest, because like you say, if you see somebody who is in somebody else's stream, never really in yours, you're like, okay, you know, I like this person. They're more so part of this person's audience. I love that. They have found their fit. That's grand. I'm still doing what I'm doing. And that's, you know, it's that kind of humbleness, I think, is what kind of helped people go far. But it's like when you take away the fact that it's not a competition, the only people who make it a competition is well, the ones who have that kind of mentality. And
Mm.
I was guilty of that myself, and that was part of my downfall, if you were. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's just this sort of mentality, and you got to kind of, if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. And it's good to sort of have that philosophy for sure. But so let's sort of put streaming aside for a second. I want to talk about your newest venture of the last few months in the online capacity of Money Eats. So you
Yes.
have started this channel where you're going across America, trying different foods from all the states. So let's talk about this. Like, let's talk about what was the inspiration to start up this channel.
I've never been so excited to talk about something. I hope people can see the passion I have for this, but Money Eats has always been an idea that I've been building up for quite some time. I've always kept it down low, never told anybody about it. Not even my closest friends. Never told anyone. Not even my own, you know, Money Eats was something that I was always passionate about. I love food, of course, who doesn't? Um, and I always thought, if I'm eating out a lot, I kind of want to review these food items that I'm having. I
Yeah.
want to share my experience with other people. It's kind of weird to say.
No, I,
I
I
want
get it though,
people to
man. I get it.
it's odd to say. I'm eating this mozzarella stick that is amazing to me. Like I want to share this with people. It's very odd to say. Um, but I've always liked the idea of being a food reviewer and going out and just finding good eats. I've all the accounts that I follow are really just food, 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 this and that. So I'm like, you know what? I want to try that. I've have experience in front of a camera. Like I want to do it. So I created Money Eats and I started just, filming a bunch of content before I even opened the channel. I have a lot of the things that you watch now are things that I recorded months ago.
Uh,
And it's just because I number one, I don't want to run out of content. Number two, eating is can get expensive. So you
Yeah.
kind of want to pace yourself and not, spend so much money in 1 week. Um, but yeah, the funny thing is when I started the channel, um, obviously I'm starting from the ground up, ground zero. You have my main gaming account where I could send people to come support. And yeah, there have been some people, but it's definitely not a lot of people's niche. I guess you could say it's not their taste. They don't want to watch that. I totally understand. So I'm like, I'm about to dive into a whole different audience. And this is another competitive niche. But again, I don't care. It's something I love and I'm
Yeah.
so passionate about it. And I'm starting from zero. And it's funny enough, no matter how many years I've been looking at a camera and talking to it, I have never been as timid as I am now with Money Eats. It's different when you're out in the real world holding a camera in front of people with a little microphone and you're trying not to cause a scene. Just I'm here to review my food and get out. But you know, you could see in the early videos where I'm a little hush, I'm a little timid, and it's just people have commented and said, that's kind of funny because the other day I just saw you do a backflip off your chair in your office and run around after hitting a home run, and now you barely can get a word out when you're doing your reviews. It's a challenge. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I knew it was going to be a challenge, but I always believed in myself. I said I'm going to do it. It's such a small channel too, but I love it. I
Yeah.
love it so much, and it's just ideas I've had for so long that I'm finally getting to see it. And I've never had this much fun editing. I've never had this much fun recording. And now we're doing a USA food tour, going to all 50 states, trying what each state is known for. I'm doing so much travel, and it's fun. It's
Yeah.
great, and I'm having an amazing time.
You know, I love it. Like I love like food reviewing content is like I'm surprised it's not as high up in terms of watched content as it is because it's amazing.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I'm no foodie myself, but you know, I love watching like you know, going to like a people going to like a big barbecue restaurant and just seeing all this kind of spread. I'm like, yeah, that's a bit of me. Like, and
Yeah,
it's but the thing is as well, you know, even though sometimes it will go from your gaming account to Money Eats, the viewership may not necessarily translate because of people's interests and what they're kind of there in their gaming account for. But if you think
yeah,
about it though, like you're the one out there, you're the one who's getting to try all this amazing food. You're going to see all these
exactly.
amazing places.
Mhm.
It's like the only difference is you're just got a camera on you this time, you know, and it's like
Yeah.
you know you're getting all these amazing experiences and like it's it's awesome. So how many states as of today, how many states have we done?
Wow, I think we're up to 6.
Wow.
6 states right now, and we started this challenge, I believe, in the end of February.
Wow,
And it's
okay.
kind of funny because
Yeah.
I never had the thought of doing this challenge. I call it a challenge. It's not really a challenge, but, um, I this new venture, I guess you could say. It all started when I went to Illinois or Chicago, the city, to go watch the Elimination Chamber for WWE. I said, "I'm going over there, but hey, I've never been to the city.
Mhm.
They have a lot of great food, and I've already started Money Eats." So I'm like, "You know what? What would it would be great to just record myself eating here." I still didn't think about the venture of the 50 states yet. But once I was there and I tried all this amazing food, I was like, "Man, what if I went to a different state and tried food there?" And then
Yeah.
boom, just clicked. And I thought, you know what? This is gonna be great. It's gonna be groundbreaking. Um, has the viewership and all that gone up since? Not really, but man, am I having a great time.
For
I've
sure.
met some phenomenal people. I've had some amazing food. What what's the downside? There's no
Exactly.
doubt. There's no downside. I'm having the time of my life right now.
Yeah.
I don't care, if 5 people like my posts and all that stuff, so be it, and I hope all 5 of you enjoyed that content. Hope you guys got hungry watching me eat. This is just the greatest time. I'm all jittery about it right now. It's so much fun. So
but
much
but
fun.
that's it, man, because it's lived experience, you know what I mean? And like so how have you found then the difference between, you know, at home content in front of, you know, your screen playing games versus, you know, being out there, you know, you surely gotta have your kind of phone on show. So like to passersby, it's gonna kind of look obvious that what you're doing, you're filming content in some way. But like, is that something that you very quickly get over or considering the difference of what you've built, you know, from your streaming capacity?
It's definitely it's different. It's very hard because at home, you can be yourself anywhere, but at home, you're in a closed, safe environment,
Yeah.
a friendly environment. You don't have a bunch of other people around you, so, you know, it's not that I'm being a totally different person. Here I could have a lot more fun because, like I said, there's not many people around. I'm not, you know, disrespecting or making too much noise. There's one thing that kinda irks me with what I call streamers that, stream in the real world, outside their home, is that sometimes they either one, they're attracting too much attention or causing a scene just to get some views. I just doesn't sit well with me
Mhm.
sometimes, and, good for them. Good for them that they're whatever works for them. I get it. But, totally different. You kinda have to learn, you have to have situational awareness.
Yeah.
So if I'm reviewing in a tiny mom and pop restaurant, I don't want to be loud. I want to be respectful to everyone that's eating there. You know, you'll see in my next coming reviews that I had the camera nice and tight up here. I'm kind of talking the way I am right now, reviewing the food. You have to have that
Yeah.
situational awareness. I can't bring the money man that streams from home that gets very loud. I'm very vocal no matter what. I just think it's who I am. I'm very loud. I'm very outspoken, but you gotta learn to kind of switch it back and kind of pull back a bit. and be respectful. And
Mm.
I think that's how it's been. It's very hard um, to get adjusted to, but I feel like I'm doing a good job at it. Um, it's it takes a lot of training, and
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
for
here for it.
sure.
You have to be willing to go through that. If not, you're never gonna go through with it.
Oh god, yeah. Like I mean, putting yourself out there is one of the it's one of probably one of the more difficult things you can do, but rewarding in that sense. So when you go to these different cities and different states, how do you select like what particular restaurants you're going to for that particular day or that particular trip?
Yeah, so there's a believe it or not, there's a whole planning process when it
Okay.
comes to these. It's just a lot of times it has to do with timing. Most of my trips, believe it or not, are just 1 day trips. I
Mhm.
go fly to that city and I'm back home in bed the same day. So you have to be very strategic. Way I like to do it is I try to do a kind of a breakfast, lunch, and dinner type deal.
Yep.
I want to give people enough variety, so I go there, I land very early, and I before I even get there, I already have the list of restaurants I wanted to go to, and then I have a plan B list. If I don't know, say there's a line going out the door
Mhm.
and I'm gonna lose a lot of time, or maybe it's just closed one day, that restaurant. I have the plans of where I'm gonna go. How I find these restaurants, usually, thank you to TikTok. I go through TikTok and I see, good places to eat in the state or this and that. Or I go into Reddit's and I look in there. There's a lot of studying that goes on.
Yeah.
And then not only that, I don't like to get sucked into, oh, this viral restaurant, this and that, because who knows? It might be a viral restaurant and their food is not good. So then I start going into reviews. I see what people are saying. I want to know, is the quality of the food good? How's the service? Is it clean in there? Things like that. Start getting a little nitpicky because I just want it to be a positive experience, not just for my viewers, but for myself. I'm the one that's going in there spending my own money to eat there. So I want to make sure that I'm eating well. And thank goodness it's been good as of lately. I don't think I've had one place where I could be like, yeah, I'm never going back there because that was a horrible experience. So a lot of planning to even to landing in places. Sometimes there's right now in America there's a situation with aviation. I mean, there's traffic control is severely understaffed, so you have plenty of delays. And for the past 3 trips, I've been delayed
Wow.
for my arrivals. So then that you have to make a quick pivot because you have all your list of restaurants, but now I'm going to get here late. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit that restaurant. Let me see if I could do the others, come back to it. The process is very stressful, my friend, but
Mm.
it's very worth it.
I was going, yeah, I can imagine because I was aware that you did do it the same day there and back, but like, how do you stay hungry for like that full? You going out to having these proper because you're trying multiple dishes, right? You're trying multiple
Mhm.
dishes in each place. How do you stomach that, man? Like, 'cause that is a lot of eating for one day.
Um, I've had to teach myself because there has been some states where I hit a wall
Yeah.
immediately on the first restaurant. But um, I've gone with friends, I've gone with people, and a special person told me one time, you need to learn to pace yourself. If that means that you have to waste food and take a couple bites and that's it, and so be it, because you're never going to be able to go to each
Hmm.
spot and eat. You're not going to be able to maximize your time and get as many places done at once if you're going to eat the full meal. And there's some places that just have such great food
Yeah.
that I want to keep eating it. But no, you have to learn to say, okay, that's enough. I'm going to take 3 bites, give my review, and move on.
Hmm.
Because if not, you're just going to hit that wall, and it's not fun.
I
It's
can
not
imagine.
fun. And my first state, my first city, Chicago, I was at the verge of just letting all my food out. Once I hit the last place, I said I gotta switch up my routine. Of course, granted, this is my first time, my first rodeo of doing it. I hit 4 places that day, and boy, I almost ate everything, almost 75% of each plate
Wow.
I ordered that day. You gotta learn
Yeah.
to pace yourself. Maybe bring a friend. I usually go by myself, but if I could bring someone, whether it be a family member, a friend, or even meet friends that live in that state,
Mhm.
bring them, tag them along. Hey, I'm not gonna finish this. You could have the rest of this. I have to be strategic.
No, that makes sense, and it's because it's something I've always wondered about, like with food reviewers, and you see how much food they're ordering, like, are you really finishing that? But kind of makes me think, like if restaurants are getting this kind of clientele where people are reviewing food, like it would be a smart idea if they had like sample platters of like
Yeah, that would be great.
all of their, say like their top five ordered items
Mhm.
or something in the sort of like manageable portion sizes so that it's like, so to minimize the waste kind of thing. Because it's just something I've always wondered. And but no, that's it's interesting. It certainly is interesting the amount of planning that goes into not just the sort of traveling, but also while you're there. And so to this date, do you have what's your favorite state that you've hit up to this
Oh
date?
man, that is a tough question. I don't even think I could answer that.
Yeah.
It's not to be, I'm not trying to be respectful of all the states and
No, of
whatnot.
course.
They don't owe me. They don't owe me anything. They don't even know me. But can I say my favorite state out of all of them so far? I'll give you maybe let me give you two. Two of my favorite states. Number one was Georgia. Georgia has southern food.
Mm,
Um, sometimes a lot of it's fried, but so good. It's very filling, all their food, and it's a lot of the restaurants I went to, things are just made from scratch,
yeah.
and it was just amazing. So Georgia is definitely up there. And then my second one so far, which actually I haven't even posted yet, um, is Wisconsin.
Oh,
Wisconsin, it was a lovely, lovely trip. Every spot I went to got a very high rating. Um, that was that was something. And next coming up is Texas, big old Texas,
oh,
big
hell
on barbecue and all that. So I already know that's going to be one of my favorites. But so far,
yeah.
Georgia and Wisconsin have been such a treat.
Wow. That's amazing, because you look, obviously America is a huge, huge country, but the difference in individual states can be night and day. Like
Yeah,
I kind of like in traveling across America in terms of accessibility to like being in the UK, going to Europe, different places in Europe, and
mhm,
I imagine that the differences. No, I mean, again, I could be wrong in saying this, but this is just from my perspective. But the differences from like sort of traveling, me traveling to Europe and sort of the different sort of foods and things like that versus
yeah,
different states in America, it might not be all that different. Like I mean, if you take the likes of Texas to California, for example,
yeah,
things like that's probably two entirely different things, or um, Washington to Florida, for example. Like, who knows what they're like, and it just is. I mean, it's yeah, I'm kind of getting hungry just thinking about it.
yeah. No, this is why America. It's funny, yeah. Like some states are so close to each other, but yet have totally entire different food or differently like culturally inspired. You could come down to Florida and say you come to South Florida, you're gonna get all the Caribbean food. You're gonna
Mm,
get um, Haitian food, Cuban food, things like that. But then when I crawl up to Georgia, I'm getting fried chicken. I'm getting all these southern type foods, and then I go up to, I don't know, I'm going up to New York. I'm getting something totally different now. I'm getting more Italian food. I'm getting this and that. It's so different each state you go on to. So this is why I love that I'm doing this challenge because I don't think I'll ever get bored of the food because every place is so different. It's so
Yeah.
different. It's not like, and no disrespect to Europe, like if I went to Italy and I try to go to each spot in Italy, it's kind of going to run into the same food. You're going to run into the same food
Yeah.
unless you went from to Italy to Spain to Greece. You know, that's totally different. A lot more pricier than doing it here. I will say that. So a lot more pricier, and not to throw any dirt at European food. I love European food, and I cannot wait for the day that I'm able to travel over there and do food reviews over there because who doesn't like European food? I love it.
Yeah. But
Culture over there, the ingredients, everything's just
oh
beautiful.
god, yeah, 100%, man. But you are right in saying, like, when you go to these different European countries, that you are running into the same sort of thing, because I I don't know what it's like for the most part of the States, but in Europe, like European capitals, for example, would probably be the better example of this. You'll have like sort of just roads, and it's like restaurant, 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 restaurant. But you've got
Mhm.
like people outside trying to goad you in. But every restaurant is offering the kind of same sort of thing. So
Yeah.
like from from being European myself, like I would probably say, if you're going to say it, Greece is probably a better example, actually, because if you're going to Greece, you pick three kind of different, or well, you probably want to pick maybe nine different types of dishes, and then
Mhm.
sort of go across three different. But then you run the risk of it. What if it was nicer somewhere else? But you kind of that's all that's what's down to the taste and subjectivity, I suppose. But so out of you still have another 44 states to go. Do you have any particular states that you are more looking forward to than others, just
Um,
because of what you're in for?
I just honestly, I don't. I'm
Wow.
just going so open minded right now. I have traveled to many of the states, but I've never traveled to mainly focus on food.
Hmm.
So I'm going to this so open minded states that I never thought would even have good stuff. You learn that they do. So, and like explained in my challenge, if anyone watching right now and whatever stumble across my content, I spin a wheel and I let that determine where to go because it's harder for me to just be like, oh, let me pick up my bags and go to, I don't know, North Dakota. It's a state that I always poke fun at because when do you hear someone going, "Hey, I'm gonna go eat at North Dakota?" Like, no one says that. Let's just be real. Sorry, everyone that lives in North Dakota. It's real, and they could probably agree with me. So that's why I have the wheel do it for me because it kind of just forces me to.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going here, and that's it. I'm sticking to it. Obviously, if it's at that time, if airline flights are a little too expensive, then I have to make a pivot, plan B. Because, like I said, this is all coming out of my expense. I'm working and spending my own money to to go to these places. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's totally fair. Like, and I guess it kind of goes back to the whole point where everywhere's going to be different regardless in terms of food and cultural. So it's there's a lot to look forward to from every state regardless. And but then, like, just wait till you just wait till you hit Hawaii on the wheel as well. That's gonna be
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's actually funny because if anyone were to watch on the wheel, there's two states that are not in there, Hawaii and Alaska, and I explained I can't wait to get the opportunity to go there, but for me, I live in Florida, so, you have the state
Yeah.
of the United States. Florida's here, Hawaii's all the way out here,
Yeah.
and to get there, it's very pricey. Um, you have to save a lot to go to these places.
Mm.
I always say I'm always open to having, some sponsors out there, but that's gonna take some time, so I said, "If it comes sooner than later, great. But that's something that's gonna have to wait because that is far.
Yeah, for sure. Because I imagine, like, because they're both Pacific time zones. I imagine it probably takes longer than the time difference to fly over to them. So then you're already an hour or two behind, And I think that they're more holiday destinations than they are
Yeah.
just, like than they are just for a day. Like, I mean, so what would be then the furthest that you could travel and come back on the same day? Would it be any of the West Coast states, or would you be talking more the Midwest?
Believe it or not, it could be the West Coast
Really?
states. I've seen it where it's because the time difference does come into
Yeah.
play, and it helps because if I leave here, say at 6 a.m. and to get to California is, we'll say like a 5 hour plane ride. Um, you're still pretty much going to get there at their time of wake up.
Yeah.
So haven't lost much time in the day. And then you could take a late flight, come back here. Yes, granted, you might come back here. If I left here on a Friday, I'm going to get back here on a Saturday, maybe, midnight or something like that. But I could still manage it. I could still make it happen. Um, yes, there's going to be times where maybe I might elect to stay one night, break the rules and stay one night. But it's, if believe it or not, it is doable. It is
Yeah.
doable. No matter, and you could go all the way to Washington and come back here same day. Technically, if you want to get technical with it, yeah, I can get your leave the same day because of the time difference. So
Yeah. I just is the again, this is just my sort of European UK kind of mind. It's just the concept is just like it's incredible to me because see for a 5 hour flight here, I could probably go I could probably fly to Asia from the UK.
mhm,
And like I'm at like the probably the most western point nearly of Europe.
yeah,
I could probably fly to Asia and Africa in five hours. Like that's just crazy. The sort of you know the perception like that, but
yeah.
no man. But I'm loving the content. Looking forward to seeing like where it goes. All these different places, different foods that you're looking to get. Like I think it's a great series. I think it's only a matter of time before more eyes, the right eyes are hitting it, and man,
Mhm.
it's exciting. But Money, it has been a pleasure having you on Behind the Camera podcast. Thank you so much for your time. I would just like to give you the floor to let the listeners know where they can find you.
Yeah, I really appreciate, again, thank you so much for inviting me to do this. I'm
That's my
so
pleasure.
excited to do it now. It's been so fun to just sit and chat. But yeah, if you ever want to follow me, it's MoneyMan on TikTok. I just gotta look up MoneyMan, and actually, let me get you the actual. Sorry about this.
No, my pleasure.
I wish I came prepared with my username. I don't know my own usernames. So
That's the
it's
thing about TikTok, isn't it? Because you know your screen name, but your actual username is what gets so like I don't know the only reason I know my username is because it's on the screen right now for me, but otherwise I
oh
wouldn't.
man. So on TikTok, it's the underscore money man underscore. And then if you go on Twitch, it's money with two Y's underscore man with two N's. And that's the same thing on YouTube. Uh, it's harder because that everyone I guess there's a bunch of people that have money man as a username. So it's a lot harder to get um the same what do you call that? The same username
Yeah,
or tag. If you want to follow me on Money Eats, it's very simple. I made it simple for everyone. If I'm on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. So you just put Money Eats TT for TikTok, Money Eats YT for YouTube, and Money Eats IG for Instagram. And that is how you'd find me.
amazing. Yes, definitely check out Money Man. Check out Money Eats. Some amazing content and some even better content to come in the future. Once again, Money, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much.
And there you have it for episode 115 of Behind the Camera. Massive thank you to MoneyMan for being today's guest. Be sure to check out MoneyMan and Money Eats across TikTok and Instagram, links in the description. As always, thank you to all patrons for your support. You're all truly appreciated. And of course, if you would like to stay connected with Behind the Camera, check out my link tree in the description for all socials and my book, Behind the Camera, The Journey So Far. Thank you for listening, for all the support, and for being part of the journey. Until next time, take care, stay creative, and I'll see you soon. But until then, peace.